on Kincaid, and my very special. Look at who the fuck I got. It's Buff Dad himself. What's up, Buff Dad?
What's up, brother? It's been a long time.
Dude, you're up in the Rhode Island area. I'm down in the CT area. I used to go up that way like it was my second home, but the traveling thing has just started wearing on a guy. So we haven't been able to catch up in a very long time. So for me, because I love fucking Buff Dad, so where'd you go? Are you playing with buttons over there? Where'd you go?
Why, it went away?
There's no video. Oh my God. See, this is what I get. This is what I get for inviting Buff Dad to come do video stuff.
Hey.
Here he is.
Did you get it back?
Yeah, there you are, right there.
Oh, because I can't see me now.
Oh, really?
That's okay. As long as you can see me.
Yeah, that's all that matters. We need to see Buff Dad. We don't see us, right?
That's right.
So, Buff Dad, you're up. I can't believe I got you on my fucking show. This is amazing, dude.
All you had to do was ask. It took forever.
Well, I tried to get you.
Whoa, wait. I should have been first one, and I should have been the first one when we went into quarantine. Like, what's going on?
Well, actually, I'll give you the second. I'll give you the latter of. But I did try to get you on Center Ring so many times, but you're such a busy guy on Thursday night throwdowns up at the XWA Center that you're in demand up there, and I couldn't get you down in my area. So I'll give you half of that. You should have been on the first quarantine spot. That's for sure.
Right. I should have been on I should have been on it every week. Never mind just the first one.
Well, I actually think I'm getting notifications and sounds and stuff. So let me turn that crap off, if I may. There we go. That's very much better. Hey, Buff Dad, have you ever even been interviewed before? Is this a first?
It's a first on Skype.
Oh, so I'm not like your first interview ever?
No, I did radio. I did 2 radio shows. I did a podcast.
I was trying to be your first, man. I mean, I was trying to, you know.
All right. Already used up.
So I'm like sloppy third, sloppy fifths and shit like that.
Yeah, something like that. You should be used to that, though.
So this whole, and I thank you for taking the time out of this crazy time we are stuck in right now. This whole COVID. COVID. It's really crazy right now, man, and I appreciate it. So I want to look at Buff Dad just for a second. I'm trying to link in Buff Dad. I don't know if you guys see, a lot of the guys down in CT and girls don't know who Buff Dad is. Buff Dad his home base is up. It seems to be up in Rhode Island, XWA Center in West Warwick, Rhode Island. Fantastic organization up there. That whole promotion is just nothing but fun. And I haven't seen Buff Dad in so long. I'm just soaking them in a little bit because this is the only way I can see you is to look at your shirt. You know what I'm saying, man?
I do. Well, there's YouTube and there's the XWA network that you should be signed up for since you.
What the fuck is going on with your camera? This is what I get. I know he's not under the age of 40. There he is. What are you pressing buttons? This isn't PlayStation, man. Let's go. Are we good? I see Buff Dad right now. This is not PlayStation. I can't hear a fucking word he's saying. I can see him. I can't hear anything he's saying though. Are you even saying anything, Buff Dad? No. This is a first.
How about now?
I can hear Buff Dad, but I cannot see Buff Dad.
Oh my God.
There we go. I hear and I see Buff Dad.
Okay. Are you sure?
I do. I can see. See, I think there might be a bad connection. You're going in and out and in and out and in and out.
It's my Connect thing.
I got you. I see you. I hear you.
Okay.
All right. This is the most technical difficulty I've ever had since starting the COVID stirring the pots. So maybe we should make this probably as quick as we possibly can and get the fans to know who the hell Buff Dad is. Your home promotion, XWA Center, is, can I be correct on saying that, sir?
Yes, definitely.
Now, I have to say, you don't look like a spry young man getting into wrestling. Could you tell me? Oh my God! You just
connecting on my Xbox. The camera.
I got you. All right. So it's definitely not me. It's Buff Dad, right?
Oh, it's my thing.
All right. That's okay. We can push through. Introduce us to Buff Dad. You don't look like a spry young man, I have to say. What the hell are you doing in that ring, sir? And how did you get into wrestling?
Completely by accident. When my son started training, I decided to go watch some trainings. And he was training with Biff Busick, who we all know is the only lurking now in the WWE. Trained me. But I said to him one day, you think I could referee? And he was like, yeah, we could train you to ref. So I started reffing, and everybody kept telling me I was too big to be a ref. I was bigger than most of the wrestlers. So one day we were going to have a student show, and Biff pulled me aside and he said, why don't you manage your son? You guys have this weird connection that would be great in the ring. And I said, you know what? I'll try it. So I went on to manage to Buff, and Buff Inc. kind of exploded, and we did a bunch of stuff. And Biff got signed, and Mike and Matt Taven and Mike Bennett took over as trainers. And I was kind of getting bored being a manager. So I said to Mike Bennett one day, you think you could train me? I'm like 45 years old. Do you think it could happen? And Taven said, fuck yeah, we can train you. And I was like, all right. So they started training me, and it was not good. I didn't learn very fast. I couldn't do a lot of the things that everybody else could. And my son kept telling me, Dad, you got to swivel. You got to swivel for everybody. Everybody will love it. And I was like, no, that's stupid. I'm never going to swivel. It's never going to happen. So we did a show one day, and he talked me into swiveling, and I did it, and everybody went bananas, and that's how it happened.
So, a couple things about what you, oh God, just seeing the vision it does something to your heart. It warms your heart up a little bit. A couple things about what you said. You were trained. Now you went through a little bit with Biff Busick, but you have been trained by Mike Bennett and Matt Taven up at the Kingdom School. Is that correct?
Yeah, and Vinny Marsalia and TK O'Ryan.
That has got to be some crazy training with all of those personalities up there. How does Buff Dad push through training with such personalities as those guys?
I out-personality everybody. I'm just loud and obnoxious, and I get through it. It takes me forever to learn a move, but I get there eventually.
In the ring, when you take a bump, it fucking hurts. How does Buff Dad get through the next day, getting in the ring, performing as you do? And I gotta say, there's a lot of comedy in your shtick. and you don't do a lot of stuff in the ring, mostly, but man, your performance is always grade A, and you are always on your game every single time. So I'm kind of curious. I'm getting in later in age. How do you the next day? How do you get through it when you're taking all of these wax on the floor and on the sides of the apron and stuff? I mean,
Slowly and a lot of belief.
all right, I'll give you that. So, thumbs up, two thumbs up to a lead to keep letting Buff Dad to get his career.
Yeah,
You mentioned your son, Two Buff. Two Buff and Buff Dad make up a faction. Can I call that? Called
not anymore.
Not anymore?
Not anymore.
Oh, well, I've been out of the scene up there, but let me explain to the fans and give them a little ride of it, because his son, Two Buff, and himself, they made this thing called Buff Inc. And man, they come out and they owned the crowd. It didn't matter if it was up in their home base or if they came to Massachusetts. I've seen them before. I've seen them in Connecticut, down in Groton. And the crowd, they absolutely own them right in the palms of their hands. And it's some of the craziest shit that I've ever seen in my life. How did you two gain that kind of, like, you could do that anywhere. That's just fucking magic. How did that ever become, man?
I have no idea. People just love the way we interact. Like, we're not afraid to, like, be stupid, and we do it, and people love it. Like, when I first started, I was loud and obnoxious, and I told people to fuck off, and that I couldn't stand them, and they loved it. And like, I was like, wow, this is crazy. Like, I'm trying to be a bad guy, and people love me. Like, cut it out. That's how it happens. Like, it just, like, some of the stuff we just were talking about it on the way to the show, and we tried it, and people loved it, and we were like, all right, that's what we're going to do.
Now, when I came into the XWA, I was at the point where the Sully section was just being born. Johnny Bones was the hometown hero. Holy cow. Joey Bones. I'm sorry. I get too many, and I know I read too much news too, because of maybe that's where I got it all mixed up. Joey Bones, and they had this section called the Boneyard on the side. There was a lot of different things going on in XWA at the time, and that's when I walked into it. You had a feud that was going on with the whole Boneyard situation. Can you take us on a little ride with all of that?
Well, it started with Joey squishing a donut in my face because he took the last jelly donut that I hid that I was going to eat. And from there, it skyrocketed into we got people fired, and we owned Joey for a few months, and he had to do whatever we told him to. And Buff Inc. owned the XWA for at least a month. And nobody could stop us.
Now, when all of that kind of stuff comes together in the ring, is it everybody kind of getting their heads together and being like, hey, we should try this and we should try that? Or does it come from the higher, the brass in XWA? How does all of those kind of storylines come together like that?
Well, like the whole start of it was me and Joey and Two Buff came up with the beginning, and it went from there, and then everybody wanted to be involved. Jose got involved, Mike got involved. It was people got involved. Sully went to work at Taco Bell for a little while because of us.
He got fired, and the Sully section, we couldn't sleep for fucking weeks after that. Thanks, Ass Jack.
That's what you deserve.
Yeah, that was fan-effing-tastic. But the storylines that you guys brought us on were just some really, really fun times. and they still continue in the XWA. But I mean, I have to go back into that time in XWA because that's where I was kind of really hanging out. You guys were on fire, and it didn't matter what you guys did. Everything was money. But you brought up Jose, and Jose Perez came into the ring, and he gave Two Buff so many fucking chops on his poor little tiny chest that it was literally purple. You can visually see it from a distance. How can you let your son take such a beating in the ring?
Better him than me. Jose chopped me once and it hurt, and I was like, nope, bye.
Oh my God. We were watching it as fans. And I don't know, after the 150th time, it was like, let the kid live, please.
Well, after the stuff he's done to me recently, he deserved it.
Oh, man. Well, I do have to shed a tear knowing that Buff Inc. isn't together anymore. That does make me fucking kind of sad. I have to admit that. I want to bring it to a time you guys did a couple shows or one show at Battlefront Pro Wrestling, and it was an outdoor show. And I would two times, not once, but twice, I come rolling up on you guys trying to sell your merch. Now, the first time I came up, you guys came out with these neon green shirts, and it was something like, what's the buff stuff? And then on the back, it said, ask your mom. I mean, the shirts you guys would come up with, that was crazy. But we had a thing that's not on video, and I really wish it was. And we went back and forth for me to buy a shirt for like $2.50 or some shit like that, and a set of keys. And man, that was like one of the most fun times that I've ever had in wrestling. And it always comes up, and I tell that story to so many different people, and Buff Dad is always part of my life. You have made a mark on my fucking life. It's crazy. The entertainment value that you guys bring, I would love to see you at more shows. How come I don't see more Buff Dad?
Travel is tough, and it's hard for me to get signed anywhere else because people think I'm too old, and it's gonna change, I think, soon, one way or another.
Okay, so you're actually looking to maybe step it up a notch to branch out a little bit more? Is that what I'm getting from that?
I think I might be doing something else.
Oh.
In the wrestling world.
Else. Oh, so wait, now I'm getting a take that we might not see Buff Dad anymore.
Oh no, I'll be around. I just might not be wrestling as much.
All right. Okay, that's all right. Because hey, that takes a toll. That takes a toll on a guy who, you know, who's not a spry young man, you know? Takes a toll.
My knees are trash.
Yeah. Do you find it rewarding? Because before you were Buff Dad, I used to see you at stuff like NEW, and you would work the ring and put up the cages, and I would see you and Two Buff at every single show doing ring work or working a door like a security kind of thing, or the crowd for seating and stuff. Is it rewarding coming up like that? You just came out. I can't see you, but shit.
Again?
I hear you, but I can't see you. I see you. I hear you. I see you.
My thing just shuts off for some reason.
It is what it is. We push through. Is it rewarding taking that travel in wrestling?
It was what we were told we had to do. Like when we first started training, we were told, go work the shows, get out there, make your face known, and people will, you never know what could happen. You can show up at a show and they're short 3 or 4 guys, and they're like, well, you've been here every week. Why don't you go get in the ring? Like, you never know what can happen. I've seen it a million times. Matter of fact, Battlefront, Two Buff got signed at Battlefront because one of the kids that was signed didn't want to work the match that he was booked in.
Mm-hmm.
So
things like that happen
instead.
Yeah, things like that happen all the time. They always say, bring your gear just in case,
Yep. You always have your gear.
So XWA Center, I want to get back to that because that's obviously your home base. But they've gone over a renovation over a little course of the time since I've been away. The commentating area is a little bit different. The eye candy's a little bit different. The back area, I'm to hear, is like fantastic. How does it differ from when I was hanging out to where it is now? The evolution of the XWA Center.
We have our stage. We have our commentary table now built onto the stage. Jose.
I don't see Buff Dad again. I see you. I don't hear you. I don't hear you, though. I don't hear you. His connection, I can't wait till he comes back. I can't hear you. No. I can't. No. No. I can't see you. I can't hear you. I can't nothing. I don't see. I don't hear. Nada. Oh man, this was. I see you. I can't hear you, but I see you. I can't hear you. I can't hear you, but I see you. I can't. Oh my God. Oh my fuck. No, I got nothing. I got nothing from Buff Dad. He's out of here. Oh my God. Wait, I see you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you. Oh my God.
I don't know. The connect thing doesn't work. It gets tired and shuts off.
Oh my God. Okay, now that all of that is circum, are you using dial-up, sir? There's a thing called high speed connection. Oh my God, you're out again.
All right.
Oh my God. Are you back?
Is it back?
Yes.
I don't know. The connect keeps turning off. It's Xbox. It's Xbox, not me.
Well, stop playing porn on the thing. It's probably fucking been hacked.
Right. I would know how to do that on the Xbox.
Oh my God, he's out again. Holy crap. Well, hey, there he is again. I don't hear you. No. Wow. Nope. He's gone. He's gone. Well, this has been interesting. This soda is really making me burp a bit. Well, I see like this little character on the screen. I'm sure you can see it as well. Welcome back. We have found Buff Dad a good connection. Dial up. He's still using the 128 where so he found a good connection. He's back with us, and I don't even know where we were left off. My question was going to be, are you using DSL? Because, you know, we have a fast speed connection going on nowadays. I'm just saying. Well, welcome, welcome back, my man.
You know what it is? I have a day one Xbox, and for some reason the Kinect just turns itself off every once in a while.
I feel you. I feel you. We were talking about your home base, XWA Center, up in West Warwick, Rhode Island. Um, you guys have seen name after name, oh crap, after name come through that place, and sometimes you get to work with those guys, but behind the curtain, you get to talk to all of these minds. That's got to be something crazy in the wrestling industry right now. Can you talk to us a little bit about?
Well, between the XWA and the NEW, I have met so many people that I never thought I would. I sat and talked with Ricky Steamboat for 45 minutes one day, and we just talked about wrestling and being old in wrestling and how we had to work to keep ourselves up, and it was awesome. It was one of the best conversations I've ever had. And then one day I was working at an NEW show. This is a funny story. You can tell to everybody if you want. Locker room, and the first thing we do when we go into the locker room is shake everybody's hand and introduce ourselves. So I go through and I'm shaking everybody's hand, and there's this little Asian guy. I have no idea who he is. So I shook his hand, I kept walking, and then I realized he had his gear on, but he didn't have his mask on. And it was Jushin Liger. Almost peed my pants. I was like, oh my God. So I turned around and I went back and I was talking to him. He had no idea what I was saying because he couldn't speak English. It was so fun. I didn't even know who he was.
Oh my God. See, those are the things. That's what I'm talking about. Those are the things that you remember and the memories that pop up. Wrestling gives the wrestlers and the fans so many memories on the different ends of the curtain. So sharing a story like that is really cool shit, man. I appreciate it.
We got to team up with Brian Cage one time, which was super cool. And I said to him in the back, do you think after the match, like, you'll swivel in the ring? Like, I didn't want to ask him. The dude's a beast. He's like 8 of you all talking to each other. He's huge. So I said to Tuba, if you think I should ask him, and he's like, I don't know. If you want to ask him, go ahead and ask him. And I was like, well, maybe I won't ask him. So I asked him, and he was like, well, we don't know what's going to happen at the end of the match. We'll see. And I was like, okay, thank you, sir. After the match, he swiveled with us, and it was super cool. And he ended up giving us a whole bunch of cool advice, and super nice guy. There's really not anybody that I can think of in the wrestling world that I've met that isn't super cool.
It's such a community out there, and it's been as a fan, it's been an amazing ride. I've only been hanging out the scene for a few years now, but you guys and girls out there, take us on some fantastic ride, and we really appreciate. And I don't know if you hear this enough. You guys and girls, man, we appreciate what you do in the ring so much. You just don't know, man.
I love the crowd. Like, it is the one thing that I miss at not having wrestling right now. And like, I took some time off, and all I could think of was, damn, I need to hear the crowd. That is the thing that drives, like, most of us need to hear that, whether you're booing us or cheering us. That's the thing. Like,
you know it was weird, because in most times when I would see Buff Inc., they were heels, if you will, the villains. But then you guys came down to Groton for Constitution State Wrestling, and that was a fantastic show. I had a blast there. That was one of the one of the most amazing matches I've ever seen was at Constitution State Wrestling, and you guys were part of that show, and you came out, and the crowd was cheering for you like they've known you forever. And I'm looking around, and me and my dad, me and my dad, we go out to all the shows, and we're like, what the fuck is going on here? I'm going to ask you the same question. What the fuck was going on there?
You know what? Me and Two Buff were asking us the same exact thing. We looked at each other when we came out, and we were like, what the fuck? Because, like, we started as heels, and, like, we were heel. I was a heel for a long, long time. And then when we talked about turning, I was like, I don't know how. I was so nervous about turning, like, but when we went to Constitution, they just loved us. And we worked at PAPW in Connecticut, and they had us as good guys there too. And it was really weird. Like, Connecticut, we were good guys. Everywhere else, we were bad.
I don't know what I enjoy more, though. Booing the piss out of you guys or cheering you guys on, because I love you guys. And, every time it got to a point, I would stand up, and if it was a boo or a cheer, me and you, when you would come around, you would just fucking give me a hug every single time. And when I would sit down, my dad would go, that old guy loves you. And I go, yeah, we fucking love each other. But it was a weird relationship over time. And I just love seeing the Buff Dad. So, and I know I've said this a million times, and you probably say, what the fuck ever, but I have to get to the XWA Center once all of this shit is blown over, because, man, it's going to be a flood of...
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy. Are you guys and girls ready for what's coming after this whole thing kind of comes to a boiling point, blows over? We can maybe live a bit more normal, and wrestling fires back up. Are you guys ready for this shit?
I cannot wait. Like, I was going to take time away, but now I can't. Like, I have to be. I miss Thursdays. I was so excited for the Extreme Rumble, and now that is postponed, and I can't wait for that. That's going to be awesome. And I think we're just going to have to go out and do as much as we can as soon as this all blows over.
You speak of, like, the XWA Rumble. There's, like, a resolution, your WrestleMania of the XWA Center. Could you, like, your feeling when you go to Thursday Night Throwdown, you never know what the crowd is going to, it could be jam-packed in there. It could be not so jam-packed in there. It could, you get a roller coaster ride of the amount of fans. But these bigger shows, they seem to be pretty well sold out every single time. As a performer, are you more nervous, or does it change, or do you even get the butterflies when you're at a Thursday Night Throwdown compared to a bigger show that's at a different building and such?
I think Thursdays I do get butterflies sometimes, because I know that, I don't know, it's weird. Like, we get scrutinized more on Thursdays than we would. Like, I go to other promotions and I'm like, this is great. I'm fine. I have fun. I'm not nervous at all. And then the big shows, I'm nervous until the first crowd reaction. Because as soon as they react, I'm like, oh my God, that's for me. And we did, I can't remember what, it wasn't, I think it was like 2 or 3 resolutions ago, we did a student battle royal. And it came down to me and Two Buff and Wrecking Ball.
Oh my God.
And Wrecking Ball eliminated Two Buff. And then I hit him with the big boot. And I turned around and I swiveled. And like 7,000 people in the building, and they spazzed. And I kind of was like, oh my God, that's so loud. And I turned around and I got eliminated.
That moment in time never leaves you. Like, it'll
No.
never leave you, man.
No. And then at Resolution last year, I was nervous. I was super nervous.
Really?
JT Dunn was our champion at the time, and he had been calling out Hulk Hogan for a year. So me and the Phoenix came up with a plan that I would dress up like Hulk Hogan at the beginning of JT Dunn's match and do a little thing with JT. Well, we didn't tell JT. So I was very nervous that JT was going to be mad at me. So I was in the back in the gorilla, and I'm like sweating like crazy. I'm shaking. And Hulk Hogan's music hit, and the crowd reacted like it was Hulk Hogan. And I came out, and I went down to the ring, and I told JT that I was going to turn around and rip the shirt off. And when I did, he was going to hit me with the elbow, and that was it. I ripped the shirt off. I turned around. He hit me with the elbow, and I was laying there like, damn, that was cool. And after that, JT was awesome, and I talk to him all the time. I get advice from him, and it's really cool to like mine and JT's relationship wasn't very good when I first started because he didn't think that I was good enough to be around. Mm-hmm. But now we're awesome. Like I talk to him all the time and ask him stuff, and he gives me cool advice, and he's a really great guy.
That's awesome, man. That is that kind of shit is why I do these things, because if I were just hanging out at a show at XWA and we do our cordial highs and we give a brotherly hug, I'm never gonna hear this kind of stuff. The fans are not gonna hear this kind of stuff. So I appreciate you kind of just hanging out and chewing the fat with the fans, if you will. That's very cool of you, man.
I got nothing better to do I?
So you did mention a little earlier, do you have something in mind that you are going to be doing in wrestling at a different capacity?
I have a couple of things. I haven't narrowed it down to specifically what. Like, I like to do a lot of things, and I have to figure out. Like, I like managing. Managing was fun. We had a lot of fun times. Lately, I've been commentating on Thursdays. I love doing commentary.
Wait! Pause button! Fucking pause button! Wait, so it's Bob Whitney, it's Bobby Rossi, and it's Buff Dad?
Well, Bob Whitney hasn't been around, so I've been taking his place. So it's Bobby Rossi, Buff Dad, and John Roy.
Oh yeah, John Roy. I have heard of John Roy. Yes. So
I mean,
last.
I really do like doing commentary. It's super fun.
Okay.
And it's way less demanding than wrestling.
Yeah, it does the body good when you're doing commentator, right?
Yeah, well, except for when you get attacked by your son from behind,
See, now that's not good. No, that's not good. The storylines that you and Two Buff have built, and it doesn't matter who it's with. It could be with like you were talking Brian Cage. It could be a guy like Brian Cage, or it could be one of the students that are upcoming in the XWA Center. You guys just make everything money. How the fuck does that happen?
I have no idea. Like, it just works out. Like, we are goofballs. In real life, we're goofballs, and we just take that and kind of amplify it, and sometimes not even amplify it. It's just regular us. And
so I'm one thing I've been very curious, and I know it's like a general wrestling question. How long have you actually been wrestling for?
Probably a little around 4 years.
and you went through the whole training process, obviously under the tutelage of, I'm just going to say, the Kingdom, period. Like, that's
Yep.
got to be pretty effing cool, man.
It is cool. It's really cool. And Mike Bennett is an amazing trainer, and he is patient and laid back, and he'll work with you until you get it, no matter how long it takes. Taven has his moments where, you know, he gets fed up, but he's super good at training. He knows what he's training you for, and they're both invested like crazy. And then you get Vinny. Vinny is an amazing character.
Yes.
Can tell you the whole psychology of wrestling and why you're doing something and why you shouldn't do something. And he's a whole different way of training and the three of them together were awesome. It's basically the best training I've ever went to.
Now, when you're seeing the students that are joining in now, or that have been in, we'll say, a couple months back and are gaining their foot in wrestling and getting that under their belt, are you there training as well? And if you are you kind of coaching them like as like, you know, kind of like the buddy system, the brother passing it on to, you know, the next generation kind of thing? Does that all kind of still work with you, or are you not actively trained when those things happen?
I haven't been to training in a while, which I should go back, and I probably will after all this blows over, just to be in the ring for a little while. And depending on what happens down the line, I might be at training more just to be in the ring, you know, because I miss the ring. And I know once I stop wrestling, I'll miss the ring, and training gives me that opportunity to be in the ring.
Mm.
But XWA does have a lot of great guys coming up, like Waves and Curls and Love Doug. Amazing guys. You have to watch them.
I actually just got to see both of those three gentlemen, Waves and Curls and Love Doug, on the same card and in separate matches. But man, Love Doug, I've never seen ever this guy come out and he had a love sign and he's sprinkling the hearts or whatever's going on over there. And this guy, talk about entertainment and really getting you hooked onto him immediately when he comes out that curtain. And then he gets in the ring and he's no slouch. He's a really fun character. Can you give us some insight, please, for the fans that don't know Love Doug? Give us some insight of Love Doug.
Well, the first time I met Love Doug was at the last Resolution, and we were all in the Battle Royal together, and he came out and had the same gear that I had.
No.
He had pink zebra stripe pants. Up to him, and I was like, who the fuck are you? And he said, he told me his real name, which I can't remember. Like, I call him Love Doug. I don't remember like people's real names half the time because I just call them by the character. And I was like, do you know who I am? And he said, yeah, you're Buff Dad. And I said, do you know how long I've been wearing zebra print? And he said, I'm sorry, I'll get new gear. But he is such a good kid, and his character is really good, and I see good things for him in the future. Really good.
Yeah, definitely. Because all I did, I shared one GIF while I was chopping up some of the match to get a couple Love Doug clips. And that one GIF, there was like, I don't even think it was up 5 minutes, and it got like a half dozen shares. I was like, wait, this kid is like, he's got some like real love out there.
Oh, yeah.
I was blown away, and he reached out to me, and we started kind of chatting a little bit. He's a really cool dude, man. I can't wait to see more of Love. That dude's fun.
He is. He's definitely going to be around for a while. Are you still there? Okay.
So sorry.
This is you.
Yeah, I actually got a phone call. And I did not even see that coming. Who the hell calls me? I mean, for real. So do you see yourself in wrestling as long as you can, as long as you want to be, especially if you're getting out of the ring actively and maybe taking on a different role? Do you see yourself in wrestling until you're just like, you know what, I can't walk, you know what, I just can't walk no more. Now it's time to stop wrestling.
I'm never leaving wrestling.
I see the passion that you have for wrestling. Has it always been there though? How long has Buff Dad been really ingesting wrestling?
Well, I started watching wrestling when I was 12. My dad showed me, my first match was Andre the Giant. I saw Andre and I was blown away. And from then I watched WWE for my whole life. And then we kind of fell into the independent scene when Nick or Two Buff had bought me some Father's Day tickets to, actually it was an XWA show, a Beyond show, and a Secret show. And we went, and it was like a totally different atmosphere than any WWE thing you've ever been to. And I was totally blown away. And from there, we kind of went away from the WWE and we were more indie guys. And then the whole thing started with Two Buff Training, and it's hard to keep up with the WWE now.
So that actually leads me into my next question. And I ask it in most of these interviews, and I hate to ask the same question multiple times, but I try to get a gauge of the men and women that are actively working in the industry. Do you watch the current product that's going on, the TNA or the Impact Wrestling, the ROH, the WWE? Do you watch that stuff?
I watch ROH because I like to see Vinny and I like to see Matt, and I like to watch them do their thing. I watch AEW because I've been in the ring with a lot of those guys, and it's kind of cool, like, to watch. Like, the first match of the first AEW show, the first match was Cody Rhodes and Sammy Guevara. I sat down and I watched it with my granddaughter, and I looked at her and I said, you know, I wrestled both of those guys. And she was like, really? And I said, yeah, it was super cool. Like, they're on TV now. But I try and keep up with them. The WWE is kind of hard to watch because, you know, they just are what they are, and they don't really care what anybody thinks about them. And it's tough because they do have a lot of great guys. And I try and watch the stuff that Bennett does when he does his thing. And I try and Biff, but they're kind of a hard product to watch now.
I find that it's a mixed bag of answers when I ask that question, because like you said, sometimes the WWE, you just can't really and take that in as much as you can some of the other promotions. Another question: do you look back at matches and be like, holy fuck, I was part of that?
Oh yeah, I do that all the time. Like, sometimes I'll be, and like me and Two Buff will talk, and I'll be like, do you remember? And then I'll go back and watch, and I'll be like, oh wow, like I can't believe we started doing that back then. Like, it's real, and it's really weird to watch yourself do those kind of things. Like,
yeah,
especially in the beginning when it was terrible.
So, you know, I think the projection of the whole Buff Inc. thing and Buff Dad or whatever, I think it just relates to the regular people, because it's just two regular dudes coming out, and you're walking out into this gigantic, over the top, you know, like, just, it's the craziest world of wrestling. And here comes Buff Dad and Two Buff, And Two Buff is like small, probably smaller than me, which is nearly impossible. So I think the crowd really just relates to you two guys by seeing like, again, what the fuck? You know,
Yeah.
kind of. And but the entertainment value that you have always, and I do stress always, every single time those guys, both of them, Two Buff and Buff Dad, anytime they came to the ring, you knew they were gonna deliver, because if you've seen them more than once, that's all it takes. If you've seen them twice, you knew that the third, fourth, 10th, 15th time, they are gonna bring it, and it's gonna be fun AF, as the kids would say.
Yeah, well, I mean, and a lot of the thing is just interacting with the crowd. It's the easiest thing there is, but it's a thing that a lot of guys don't do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much what we did. We just interacted with the crowd, and I let Two Buff wrestle, and I did what I did, which was not wrestle.
As little as possible.
Exactly.
That's what they call smart wrestling.
Yeah. And it doesn't look so bad when I don't do that much, because, you know.
Yeah. Man, I have been waiting, and I guess you know what? That is on my bad, as the kids say, that I have not reached out sooner to do any type of interview. But I mean, dude, you're like over 2 hours away from me. So this Skype thing was the exact forum that I could use to reach out to Buff Dad, man.
It works.
And you should have been the first. I apologize.
That's right. That's
if
right.
I do anything different down the road, besides, after Skype, if I try to do anything different, I got you numero uno.
Okay.
Well, man, I can't thank you enough for your time today, man. This has been amazing. We got insight that I would have never gotten. The stories, just the Liger story itself was worth all of the miscommunication.
That was probably the coolest thing that ever. I tell that story all the time.
This was Stir the Pot with Don Kincaid, and my God, my very special guest, one Buff Dad. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you. I'll talk to you later, dude.